I suppose you saw this coming, in which we talked about X Drake and what the hell happened in chapter 978. Now, the translations, we have to wait and see exactly what they said in regards to the official, but based on several different translations that I've read, it's been a consistent thing. X Drake was referred to as the next person up if anything were to happen to Queen. There are various things we can discuss in this video, because the first thing people want to talk about is what is commander level, and I think that's a much deeper topic because it's obviously a spectrum. What commanders do you include? What commanders do you exclude? Because commanders range from Izo to Marco. But normally with commander level, what people refer to are the top 3 or 4. 4 is pushing it, but the top 3. The reason why I include 4 is because of Whitebeard's commanders. And we have 4 people that got a lot of focus at Marineford. I'm not sure if narratively, Jozu, Vista, and Marco got a lot of focus because we know Ace wasn't going to be a part of that. However, 4 seems to be the standard here, okay? If we look at Shanks' crew, it's a top 3. We don't know who the 4th person is. With Blackbeard's crew, we're not even sure who the top 3 are, right? Because they all came from level 6, excluding his older guys, but we expect the level 6 prisoners to be amongst the best in Blackbeard's crew. In Big Mom's crew, there is Katakuri, Smoothie, Cracker, then there is Snack. His status is something we're going to ponder and question because who knows if he's still considered a sweet general. It's not a set thing, but top 3 or 4. So with Kaido's crew, King, Queen, Jack. And they said in the chapter, if anything were to happen to Queen, X Drake would be the one to most likely take the next spot. This can be interpreted in many ways. One, there's no mention of Jack. So does Jack have a specific role that he cannot move up to Queen's spot as far as maybe running a different organization? Because it seems like they're over different factions. I'm not sure if Queen's position is something that Jack can't do. And this is something that's been heavily debated, right? Because in the anime, called Jack the right hand of Kaido, where for some people, commanders, right, they're all on an equal playing field. So it doesn't matter if you're the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd commander, you're a commander. Therefore, as a group, you are the right hand men of Kaido. That's how it's debated in some circles. For me, I think it's a clear right hand, whereas a clear second in command. Then after that, it's a toss-up in regards to strength. So for Kaido's crew, that could be the case, where for Jack, he's the, not to downplay it or downplay him, the errand boy, the guy to go out and do various things. And because he's the only one we've seen from Kaido's crew to go and leave Wano and do different things. So maybe that's a role that he's comfortable in, so therefore X Drake wouldn't fill that. Another speculation is that X Drake is stronger than Jack. Now, some people were saying this is far-fetched, with X Drake being stronger than Jack. However, I asked the question, for the Supernova, how many of them do you think are commander level? If we go down the list, Kid, Luffy, Law, X Drake, Apu, Hawkins, or Rouge. I mean, Bonnie, Capone, who knows with them? But I think if we go down the list, it's pretty easy to justify most of them being around commander level, 4th or 3rd commander level. And again, that's an odd way to say it, because 4th and 3rd commander level, they're pretty much the same thing. The best way to say this is commander level, because here's the thing. I think for that level, that state, the only separation for those guys comes from the right hand. I think the right hand is clearly above the others, but I think in regards to portrayal, mostly strength, it might not even be that much, but the right hand is clear. So that's why personally, I think Shiryu is the right hand of Blackbeard. For one, he came in and saved them when they all got overrun by Magellan. He's a swordsman, and he seems to have the portrayal and the hype of someone to be right after Blackbeard in that crew. People mention Aokiji all the time. We know there's something going on there. We know Aokiji. And for him to join Blackbeard, it doesn't match up with his character that's been set up from his introduction. He let Robin go. He let the entirety of the Straw Hats go. That doesn't make sense to follow someone like Blackbeard. So obviously something else is going on. Because if Aokiji was genuinely a commander of Blackbeard, it's over for everyone else. Because if you have an admiral as your right-hand man, as your true right hand, nobody else is competing. Because Blackbeard is already a monster. You have Aokiji, again, if he was a true commander, with Shiryu and Katarina Devon, Avalo Pizarro, these guys would be monsters, and they're devil fruit hunting, so let's not go there. So it's a portrayal thing for the right hands. So some translations were weird. Some mentioned page 1 possibly leaving as well, meaning is page 1 above the other guys, but X Drake was the one pointed out. So let's talk about page 1 quickly, and if page 1 could be commander level. I suppose a point of reference could be Big Mom's crew, whereas we felt like Daifuku and Oven, they were around commander level, like around Snack, I guess, based on just portrayal in a feel, right? It's nothing confirmed and nothing official, and that's all it is when we're talking about One Piece at this point. A lot of different feelings and you try to use different things that happen in the story, but there's no way to pinpoint exactly what the hell we're talking about in regards to how accurate these things are. We just have to use what the story has presented us and go off of that. So based on the story, other than Daifuku, seemingly they had the portrayal to step in if anything were to happen to someone like Snack, right? So you can mention Mondor or even Tamago, but I don't think they're strong enough. Like based on what we've seen, Mondor is broken though. Like his power, the book fruit, that is broken. But you know, with fruits like that, Oda tends to like nerf them so that things kind of make sense. So I'm looking at Kaido's crew that way. And I think initially Kaido's crew was seemingly underwhelming, but they're starting to be built up a little more. Whereas if Kaido has commander level people in the Tobi Roppo, it's rounding out his crew pretty nicely. All the headliners, all the gifters. I know that in comparison to Luffy, they're pretty much fodder, but having that many ability users, that can pose a problem. So if Kaido now has commander level people amongst the Tobi Roppo who are under the commanders, his crew is really formidable. However, we do know X-Drake is a sword member, so he's just an imposter. And if we're looking at the Tobi Roppo, everyone had a horn except for X-Drake. So it's like Oda telling us, the audience, he's clearly different, while obviously the people in the story don't know that, but it's an obvious thing from the viewer's standpoint that you can pinpoint and say, hey, X-Drake is different. X-Drake is a traitor. How don't you guys know that? Because I was seeing people say that, like, hey, X-Drake clearly doesn't have any horns. You can tell he's a Fed. I'm like, yeah, because we know he's a sword member, right? And X-Drake has always been in question. From back then when Law asked him if he ever killed anyone, which does lead to some speculation to whether or not Law could be a sword member. However, I digress. And there's this one moment where X-Drake, I think it was after Marineford, where he was on a Denden Mushi and he was intercepting the calls of Marines. We're like, I don't know, that's a little weird, but he was a former Marine, so maybe he knows how to tap into it. There were signs telling us that X-Drake could be a part of the Marines, right? And we saw some of his strength. He was able to stop a Root and Killer at the same time, casually. Even in that fight where Kizaru kicked him, you wonder if Kizaru, knowing he's a member of Sword, I'm not sure if Kizaru knows, that's like speculation. Whereas the kick looked worse than it was because he's moving light speed, so you really can't tell the impact. I mean, he survived. In all actuality, he shouldn't, but this is One Piece, special powers, superpowers, things blow up, boom, boom, pap. So it brings all of that into question. However, X-Drake is really strong. And if we're scaling him based on the Supernova, the worst generation, he's someone that I always had in my top 5 as far as strength in One Piece. Of course, in Wano, it's been weird because he fought Sanji, but Sanji got away, but he was in his full form. We saw his hybrid for a moment, dope. So him being commander level isn't far-fetched. However, it could be an influence thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be strength in regards to replacing Queen, but I think it's an interesting thing to have some dialogue about who would step in if anything were to happen to these commanders. The only crews we know about in regards to knowing the layout of the land and the structure of their crews are Big Mom's and Kaido's. We know crew members from the other Yonko, but we don't know enough to come to a conclusion and say, hey, this guy could step in. Again, for Big Mom and Kaido, we do. So based off that, I think it's pretty safe to say X-Drake could be commander level, whereas he would give Jack a tough fight and Queen because we expect Luffy and Kid to surpass even commanders post Wano, and we expect Zoro and Sanji to be on commander level. I mean, Killer as well, personally. Why wouldn't X-Drake as well be around that level? People forget, for the longest while, a lot of people thought X-Drake was a calamity. People thought he was a calamity because he joined Kaido before the time skip or during the time skip. He was a Zoan, so everyone felt like it would be cool if X-Drake was one of the calamities. Now, this way in this dialogue semi-confirms that he could be, but obviously he's not interested because if he works his way up to the hierarchy of Kaido's crew like that, I think it could pose some logistical issues because he's a member of Sword. So for him, he's trying to do his job so he can move about, and I think being a part of the Tobi Roppo, he probably has more leeway to move around. But I guess on the other hand, if he is a commander, he can move back and forth if he wants to, probably get more intel on Kaido, but then that goes back to purpose. What is Sword trying to accomplish here in Wano? But guys, give me your thoughts. Do you think X-Drake is commander level? Page 1, I think there's a conversation there as far as him stepping in if anything were to happen to a calamity, but it's not enough there to decisively say Page 1 could be commander level. Of course, as a Sanji fan, it would be cool if it was confirmed that Page 1 is stronger than every other Tobi Roppo member other than X-Drake. Then it's like, oh wow, well Sanji pretty much was playing around with Page 1. Of course, he didn't defeat him, but he was doing fairly well using just the abilities of the raid suit, not even incorporating his own things. So tomorrow, once the official comes out, I'll make a video like analyzing the chapter and then we'll touch on this again. But give me your thoughts. What do you guys think? Is X-Drake commander level, or is this a stretch to think that X-Drake could be that strong? Personally, I don't think so at all. But guys, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Follow me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/BragoDAce. We'll be there tonight talking about the chapter. So if you guys want to join us and just watch some gameplay, you can pull up. Again, like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.